In many African homes, a child isn't just a child. They're everything: hope, a future, a blessing, a legacy, all wrapped in a small body. When a child laughs, the whole house feels bright. When that same child cries, you feel it everywhere. Now picture that child starting to fade little by little, getting thinner, weaker, always sick, and no one really knows why. At first you think it's the usual suspects: malaria, typhoid, something you've dealt with before. Take them to the hospital, give them the medicine, and they'll bounce back. But days keep dragging on, turning into weeks and then months. Nothing helps. Trips to the hospital get longer and more frequent. You add up clinic bills on torn scraps of paper. And then one day the doctor calls you aside. Their face says everything before their mouth does. Your child has cancer. Time stops, your hands go numb, your mind spins. You see your child still smiling, not understanding what's just happened to your world. You find yourself asking, why my child? In many parts of Africa, illness never stands alone. It becomes spiritual, emotional, even political. Questions swirl and don't just live in your head. Everyone has an opinion. Are you sure this isn't witchcraft? Maybe someone cursed the family. Did you anger someone? Is this a punishment? Suddenly, all around you, suspicion grows instead of comfort. The fight against childhood cancer isn't just a medical one. Poverty, stigma, old beliefs, and loneliness pile on until you can barely breathe. It's expensive. There's never just one bill. There's tests, chemo, long hospital stays, special foods. Families sell land. They sell animals. Sometimes everything they own, just to squeeze out more hope, 1 week at a time. Some parents skip meals so their child won't. Others borrow from everyone they know and plenty they don't, sinking into debt they can't see the bottom of. Meanwhile, life outside hospital walls keeps marching on. Your landlord still wants money. Fees for your other children aren't postponed. Bosses want you back at work. But how do you sit at a desk wondering if today's the day? Many parents lose their jobs because they refuse to leave their child's bedside. It's not a real choice. No parent should ever be forced to pick income over being with a sick child. And then there's the rejection. People are scared of what they don't get. Cancer often sounds like a curse, or worse, something contagious. Friends disappear. Relatives stop calling. Invitations dry up. Even among family there's whispering, that house isn't okay. What's really going on there? So on top of everything else, you're pushed to the edge, all alone and hurting. Picture yourself on a hard seat in the hospital for weeks, maybe months, watching your child go through pain that would bring grown men to tears. And nobody visits. Nobody calls. That emptiness starts to dig at you in places deeper than any doctor can reach. Even at church, support gets complicated. People ask tough questions, some that hurt. Do you have enough faith? Are you praying enough? Is there some sin in your life? Some even say, just believe, stop treatment, depend on prayer. Suddenly, you're carrying guilt on top of everything, guilt you didn't deserve. Faith feels like a war with yourself. You want to believe God hears you. You pray, fast, beg for mercy, all while watching your child ache. Sometimes you find yourself alone at night, whispering desperate prayers for a miracle. Sometimes you can't help but ask quietly, God, where are you? The health system makes things harder. Access to proper cancer care is patchy and hospitals are always full. Machines break or just don't exist. The doctors are tired. Way too often, cancers get caught late, too late. You're told to travel to new hospitals miles and miles away, using money you don't have, chasing hope that keeps running just out of reach. Doctors talk in a language you barely recognize. Statistics, medical jargon, probabilities. Most of it melts into fear. Sometimes what your child needs isn't even available, or it costs more than you could ever afford. There comes a moment for some parents when all these mountains, financial, emotional, physical, nearly break them. Giving up stops being a failure and just feels like the only thing left. Not for lack of love, just because there's nothing left to give. Try to imagine holding your child and knowing there's treatment out there, but it's beyond your grasp. Or realizing the cancer's only so bad because help came too late. Or being told to go home, that nothing more can be done. Something inside you shatters, it never quite mends. Some parents swallow all this pain and say nothing. Others collapse, most blame themselves. If only I'd had more money. If only we'd come sooner. If only I'd believed more. The if-onlys never seem to end. And the child, they just want to play, to go to school, to be with their friends. Instead, it's endless hospital rooms, needles, strange faces. They lose hair, lose strength, lose the feeling of being a normal child. But even so, many of these kids find ways to smile. They muster courage most adults couldn't dream of. They fight, little warriors facing huge battles. And behind each brave child, there's a parent holding on by the thinnest thread. So as a society, we need to look hard at ourselves. Why do we push away families that need us most? Why do we judge so quickly? Why let ignorance and stories decide who gets help? Why do we let money decide who lives? Childhood cancer isn't a curse. It's not payback for something. It's just a disease.